Good afternoon, good morning once again. Can you confirm if I'm audible or not? Okay, fine, thank you. So let me share. Okay, so I have discussed about the basic concepts related to Python with you, and whatever the platform that I have discussed with you, Python ideally. This is the new screen I have shared with you. This is your Visual Studio Code. You can install from the Google also, the Visual Studio, and in that we can run the Python program also. You can also run the different program like C program, C++, and any other program in this particular also. And you can also perform the Python program in this particular platform, right? So I have used this one also because if I can just write the code here and you will get the output in this particular screen. In the ideally, I need to share the entire screen with you, because if I'll run in the script mode, I'll write in the one file and then the output will be another screen. So that will be more difficult to show you guys. So I have just used this platform. Okay. The syntax will remain same. Okay, so we are done with the basic concept of the Python, the variable declarations, how we can assign value to multiple variable or a multiple value to single variable, and multiple value having multiple variables having single variables. These have done in the previous session. Now I've also discussed about the basic questions with you, that addition of two numbers if I want to perform. So how we can implement program in this particular platform, just click on this file and click on new file. After getting the new file, your file will be open. Save that file with .py extension and you will write your code. If you're not saving that with py code, it will give you the error, right? A is equal to 10, B is equal to 10, print A plus B. Now, I also want to discuss this print function with you here. Whenever I'll write this print function, you will get these are the attributes that we can write the print functions. So whenever you are going to work with different IDE, integrated development environment, like if you're working with IDLE, whenever you are going to write any inbuilt function, you will also get the inbuilt description of that particular function, right? So you can see here it is giving the value, file, end, and set. So what is the use of this print function? It is used to print the value to a stream or to a sys.std out by default. Optional keyword argument are these. Value you need to give, that is compulsory. All other are the optional one, like file. A file like object default to the current system. This you can use in case of the file handling concept that will be discussed later on. Then step string inserted between the value, default a space. This step is used to insert any kind of the space, any kind of the string inside the values, right? By default value is space. Like if you just write 10, if you simply write a comma b, it will give the space between two values by default, right? and append after the last value default a new line. So by default value of this end is new line. So if you are writing print statement and if you are writing another line after that, it will be automatically printed in the next line, right? So suppose, let me explain this thing with you. Like if I'll do print A comma B, if I'll do like this, right? Click on this button, you will get your output here. See, I am getting 10 and space 20. Two values are in one print statement with space, because by default the attribute function of this print function separator is giving you space. If you want to change the value of that, like sep is equal to, suppose I want comma in between the two numbers. So by default value I'll change, I'll write comma here. Now if you will print, you will get comma between two values. See the difference between the output. This is 10 space 20. This is 10 comma 20. Getting it? I have changed the by default value. Either you can write any string between that. Suppose you want to write and, you can also write that also. 10 and 20. Okay. Now, one more thing. Suppose I want now print hello. Like this. Now you can see I'm not writing any semicolon after the termination of one line. There is no use of that. Okay. The only error you will get if you will not follow indentation. So if I do this thing, now I want to run. What I am getting 10 comma 20 and hello in the next line. So by default behavior of print function is that whenever you are going to terminate one line and after writing another thing will be there in the next line, right? But if I'll do here, I'll change the by default value of end parameter. End is equal to, now by default is /n. You can see here by default value is /n. It means whatever the value you will write, whatever the line you will write after this print statement, that will automatically go in, the control will go into the next line. But if I will change the with space only, then what will happen now? Previously you are getting this output, now you will get in the single line 10 20 hello. Okay, so sep is by default space, end is by default new line. You can change the value by giving the value according to the user choice. Like in the separator, sep means separator. So I have separated my values with the comma now. And in the end, I am changing the by default value /n. It means new line to the space. That whatever the value I want to print, the control will remain here only. After that, if I'll do any another print statement, the control will be on the next line, because in the hello, I haven't changed the default value of end parameter. So hey will be in the next line. Is this clear to all? Yes, class, is this clear or any doubt? Done or not? no response. See, I have already told you, please respond on time so that we can complete our syllabus on the time schedules that I've given to you. And also, this is only for you guys. So if there will be any doubt, you just need to ask the questions. So be responsive. We are also having the evaluation criteria. If you're not going to give the response in the classes, so you all will be getting the 0 in that. And you know that winning camp is that much important to you. Please respond. Am I clear or not? Am I audible or not? Yes, Aditi, Anushka, Janvi, please respond. Otherwise, I am going to complain about you that there is no response from this particular class. Any doubt? I am asking about the doubt. Is there any doubt? What about other students? Okay, fine. Then the next I'll move with the if-else statement or the conditional statement and the loops in Python. So like other languages, we have also support of if-else statement, while loop, for loop in the Python also. So I'll just discuss with the simple concept. First of all, see, this is the one file I have created, right? This file will be saved in my laptop also in the directory wherever all the files being stored. So if I want to create a new file, just click on this new file. And you will get your file here, right? Now, suppose I just want to write a if-else statement. Suppose I just take one value 10 and then B is equal to 20, right? Now we'll write if else statement if B greater than A, double colon, enter. Now see, I haven't saved this file with .py extension. So my editor will not know that is this a Python file or any other file. So see, there is no use of writing this if B greater than A and colon and then the other thing, right? Now, if I have saved this file with this thing and I'll be writing like suppose this file is saved with this thing. So if the same thing, whatever the thing I have written here, if the same thing I'll write in this file, see, now B greater than A, double colon, control is on this space line. Now you can see the control directly moved to this particular line. It has given space in the left side and the control is there. This is the block of code and this is the indentation. So if B is greater than E, then I just want to simply print B is greater. Okay, run this. So B is greater. You can see the output. Okay. So basically the Python rely on the indentation. Indentation means white spaces on the beginning of the line. The white space between the beginning of the line. You can see if I have done this thing here, you can see 4 dots, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So either you can press, after writing this colon, either you can press the 4 space buttons or 1 tab button or 2 tab button. Okay, then you will get this space if you're not getting with this double colon. But after writing the double colon, by default will control move to that particular location, the block of code. So in the another languages, like suppose if you have, if you know about the C language, then in that language, if I have written if statement, then we make use of curly braces to write the block of code. Like I will write in that case like this: if A is greater than B, then curly braces. Then we write the statement. Curly braces we make use of in such scenarios. But in this case, there is indentation. No use of curly braces. So to define the block of code, we make use of indentation in the Python. And that is the very important part in the Python. If you're not making use of this thing, like if I'm not doing this thing, you will get error. Initially, you are getting a line here, print, but it is giving you the this ID is giving you the error before running that it is expecting a indented block, right? So if you try to run like this, you will get error, indentation error, print. So 4 space, either press 4 space button or after double colon just click on the enter. You will get your value. So I hope the concept of indentation is also clear to you. Right? Now if there is a if, you can also write if else, and all these type of nested if also you can make use of. So if I have written only if, now suppose if I want to make use of elif also. Else is written as if here. So elif, now elif will come in the same indentation of this if, because now I am writing another block. A is equal to B. Then print both are equal. Okay. After that, if you want to write the by default case, yani ki else case, then you can simply write else and then print A is greater. Okay. So this is how you can make use of if else statements. The directory is not able to find the Python files. Wait for a second. Let me restart this again. Wait for a second. Okay, fine now. Okay, so this is all about your if, elif, and else. If you want to write if, elif concept also, you can write in this way. Fine. I hope there is no doubt in this thing also. Then again, I forgot to discuss that how we write the comments in the Python. Right? In the another language also, you know how to write the comments. So if you would just want to write a single line comment, you just make use of hash. This is my file. Right? Single line comment can be write with this hash, and multi-line comments can be written with 3 single quotes or 3 double quotes in the starting or in the ending. 3 single quotes or 3 double quotes in the end starting of the program and the end of the program. If you end of the line and the starting of it. If you want to make all these as a comment. Okay. Fine. Single line comment can be written with the hash, and the multi-line comments with written with the single quotes 3 times and the double quotes 3 times. And simply that I have discussed with you, if you just simply want to run one line, only if statement, you just need to write in a, you can also write in a one single statement. B is greater. After writing it 4 spaces. Indentation. Right? Then, suppose if you want to make use of the operators within these conditions, like suppose if I want to write, if I want to take 3 numbers, 30 and C is greater than A, C. I'm just using it with one single line. So if I'll do this again, I'm getting. Okay, suppose this is my 5. So I will not get any output in this scenario because one condition is false. C is not greater than A. So this is not printing this statement. If you have taken the else part, in this case, then it has given you the value. Print one statement is wrong. If I'll again it run, you will get this thing. One statement is wrong. Okay. This is all about your if-else statement. Similarly, you can make use of or operator also. You can make use of not operator and any other operator you want to make. Now, there is also a concept of pass statement within a if statement. Suppose if I have taken these 2 values and I'm simply writing if B is greater than A, then I have no statement to implement. So what I'll do, I'll write the pass. So in the if statement, we cannot keep each statement empty, but if for some reason or for some other things I don't have any statement with and I want to run this if with no content, then I can simply write pass in it. So it will execute your program without giving any error, because if I'm not writing anything like this and I will run like this, it will give me an error, right? So without writing any statement, if I want to implement iOS, just write the pass keyword here. It will run your program. You will not get any output, but your program will be run. Okay? Is this clear? Then we have the concept of while loop. Let me keep all this in the comments. Okay. So Python has basically 2 primitive loops. One is your while loop and another one is for loop. With the while loop, we can execute a set of a statement as long as my condition is true. Right? Suppose I have taken I is equal to 1. Now, while I is less than 4, sorry, while I is less than 4, double colon, if you're not writing double colon after each statement, after while, after for, you will not get your indentation and you'll get the error, right? Suppose if I forgot to write this and I press enter, it will give me in the same indentation. So I need to write the double colon. That is the syntax. Indentation automatically is there. Now print I and I plus is equal to 1. So this is also similar to this thing. I is equal to I plus 1. We can also write this statement as this. One more thing, you cannot do I plus plus in the Python. There is no such syntax. Only syntax is this. Either this or this. In this way, you can do the increment. I plus plus is not supported in the Python. Like in the C, in the for loop, we can write for I is equal to 1, I less than 10, comma I plus plus, right? We cannot write in this way in the Python. So increment will be done with expression only. Okay. So if I will run this, there is indentation error. You see, there is a red tilt sign on this. It means there is a indentation error in this thing. So I need to do. So there will be indentation error in this also. What is the benefit of this ID, using of this ID? You can see the lines are given. These lines are explaining the indentation to you. So see, my print is one space ahead this line. So it means print is not at the right position. So if I'll do one back, it will be on the right position now. This is the benefit of using such IDs. Now I will run this. Okay. I have written here wrong. Now see the output. 1, 2, 3. Till I is less than 4, it has given me the output. Okay. Now, suppose if I want to make use of break statement, there is a break statement, there is a continue statement. Can anyone tell me the difference between them? The difference between break and continue. Hurry up. Yes. I'll explain the same code with both of the examples. Just tell me the difference first. Yes, tell me the difference. Hurry up. The difference between break and continue. Any journal difference you can say. If you don't know related to the language, just tell me the difference between journal meaning of break and continue. What do you understand by that? Okay, and what about the continue? Sorry, break. What will your break do? Yes. So within the break statement, suppose I have written here I is equal to 1 while I is less than, suppose I'm taking 5 here, right? Print I. So it will keep on printing till the I is 5. Now I have put a new condition here. If I is equal to 3, Suppose I is 1, it will continue. I is 2, it will continue. I is 3. Now I is 3, it will terminate. So break will stop the loop. Even my while condition is true, because while, what is while saying? Less than 5. So while condition is true because now I am 3. But my statement condition is not allowing, my statement condition is allowing me to break. So break will stop the loop even if the while condition is true. So if I will run in this case, I'll get 1, 2, 3. After 3, it is break. No other continuing of this loop, right? But if the same thing I'll do with this continue, I is equal to 3, continue. It means whenever I'll get 3, it will skip that part and continue with the next of the part. So I'll write here 5 again. Okay, so now I'll run this continue end of the file. Okay. See, it is giving me 3333 all the time. Why it is giving me 333 all the time? Because I have done this increment at the last position, right? Now I change to this condition, print this thing. I have to do this thing here. I plus is equal to 1. And continue. And then after that, I'll print I. Now see the output. Wait a second. Let me share again. Okay, so continue what you'll do, it will skip that part, right? So now I have put a condition of if I is equal to 3, it means whenever my control will come to 3, it will skip and continue with the rest of the transaction. So if I run this, you will get the output as 245, right? Now see, you are getting all the numbers in the different lines. What I need to do if I want all these value in the single line? Tell me the answer. What I need to do if I want to do this print statement output 245 in one single line? How can I do that? Tell me, hurry up. Yes, class. How can I change? Hurry up, hurry up. Say no if you don't know. But you have to respond only. If you know, then type in the message box. If you don't know, then just type you know. I'll explain. We have discussed about the print function. So tell me, if I want to keep this 245 in the one single line with the comma, then how I can do that? Yes, please. Okay, do I take the random name then if you're not going to respond? Okay, Debrupa. Unmute yourself and tell me how can I do that? Hurry up. Yes, Debrupa. Yes, Janvi. Janvi. 3 Janvi are there in the session. Yes, Janvi. Don't waste my time at least. If you don't know, then please say yes, we don't know. I'm not going to punish anyone. Yes, right, Nikita. Separator is for comma. And if I want in one single line, then separator is right that I want in one single line. What if I want to with the space? What if I want in one single line? What I need to do? So I'll do here comma step is equal to comma for the next in one single line only. I'll just write and with space. Now if I'll run, I'll get all in one single line 2, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, comma will not work here because this is the looping condition. I'm getting the value for one by one terminations. Comma is for separating the one single statement only. So this will not work here. Because there is no only one value in one single line. So it is giving me the 2, 4, 5 as like this. Okay. So this is all about your while loop. Then you can also make use of else statement in the while loop also. Suppose if I want to write I is equal to 1, I is less than 5, then I write here print I, then I is equal to 1. Now else print out of loop, right? So it will print the statement at the end after whenever your while condition will get through. After coming out of this loop, it will print this statement out of loop 1, 2, 3, 4, and then out of loop. Okay. I hope this is clear to everyone. Then we have for loop. So next concept we have is a for loop. The for loop is used for iterating over a sequence. So it you can sequence mean now we can iterate over a list also, over a tuple also, dictionary, set or string. It will iterate over a string list sequence, right? In the sequence we can take list, tuple, dictionary and so on. So we'll discuss about the data structures also, the different data structures we have in the Python. So you just need to know this thing first, that it can iterate over a sequence. And for keyword is used to represent this for a loop. Suppose now I'll take a simple list here. A is equal to, I'm just taking hello. String inside a list I have taken, right? These three values I'm taking. Then for I in A, print I. This is what I'm doing just. Okay. For I in A, it means in this A list, whatever the value it has, it will going to print all the values. So if I'll do this, it will going to give me hello, hi, hey. Okay. Now, if you want simply, you just want to have like, despite of taking this thing that I have taken here, suppose I just want to directly iterate over a one string given to you for I in Chandigarh, right? For I in Chandigarh, I need to write in this way because I'm taking a string. Print I. So now it will going to iterate over a string. So you will get output one by one, CHANDIGARH. In this way, you can also iterate over a string, right? Similarly, you can also make use of the break statement inside this also. Like suppose if I want to make use of okay, so I'll write here, I'm using this one now. For hello, hi, hey, for I in A, print I if I is equal to hey, then break, right? See what will happen. It has only print hello and hi. After printing hi, it has come out of the loop and it hasn't print hi word. Okay, this is how we can go through the this thing also. And similarly, if you want to write continue, you can make use of continue also. Hello, hi is not there, hey is not there, and hi is there. So hi, hey, pay, it has skipped the print statement, continue with the next of the conditions. Okay, so this is the concept of if, else, for, loop, and all. Fine. Then there is a inbuilt function range. Okay, range function. To loop through a set of code or specified number of time, we can make use of the range functions. So range function will return you the sequence of number starting from 0 by default and increment by 1. By default increment will be 1 and at the specified number. So for I'll write for x in range 6. So indentation is not proper. 6. Then print x, right? So what it'll do, it start from 0 until this particular range. One less than that range, it will print the value. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So by default increment, you can see plus 1 is there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And whatever the value will give here 6, it will move 1 less than that value because we are starting from 0. Okay, so 6 numbers are there. This is a use of range function. Okay, so if I write like this 2,6, it means, now you can see also here, this is a by default syntax: start, stop, and step. It means first value will define the starting index, whatever the value you're starting from. Stop will define the last position at which you want to stop, and step will define the increment, how much increment you want to take. If you will simply mention two values, one this and this one, it means you are starting from the second position, two number will be the starting one, and up to 6, 1 less than 6 you will move, and no other value than that. It will by default increment will be 1. So if I will run this, we'll get 2 plus 1 3 plus 4 plus 1 4 plus 1 5. Right now if I'll mention here 2 6 2, it means now the steps increment I have given is 2. So if I will run this, 2 plus 2 4 plus 2 6, that is out of this range. So it has only printed two values now. Is this clear to all? The use of range function. Can we move ahead? Okay, fine. So we have used the else in the while. Similarly, we can make use of else in this case also. Suppose if I want to write print else, then here I just want to come out of the loop now, and I'll just simply print finished. Right now, if I run this, at the last of the condition, I'll get this statement finished. So you can also print the else statement. So after whatever the ending statement after the loop you want to give, you can type in the else part. Similarly, you can also make use of the nested loops, a for loop inside a loop inside another loop. Right? So if I have used one for loop, within that for loop, I can make use of the another for loop also. Similarly, the past statement you can also write in this case, if you're not writing any kind of the statements. Okay. Now, before moving ahead or discussing the functions and the other concepts, I'll just clear the data structures with you, that what are the different data structures we have. So first, I'll start with the string. Let me share these programs with you also. The message box. Just take from there. So now I'm just going to discuss about the strings in the Python. The first data structures that we are going to do. So we can write string in the Python either with the single quotation mark or with the double quotation mark, right? Like you can write like hello. This is also acceptable, and single quotes. This is also acceptable. This is a two-way of writing string in the Python. Okay, so there are different manipulations, how we are perform manipulations over the string, how we can add two strings, and many other operations that we can implement over the string, right? So first of all, I'm taking a simple string a is equal to hello. This is my string. Now if I'll do print a, it will, first of all, just let me clear the console part. Hello is there in the output. Okay. Now you can also make use of multi-line string. Multi-line string means, suppose I have taken like this. This is my file. This is multi-line. Fine. comma, I am working over it. Okay. Multi-line string can be written in the form of multi-line comments that I have discussed with you, right? So if I am writing like this is my multi-line string. With the comma sign, I am writing different values. This is my multi-line string. Okay, so multi-line string is nothing but a multi-line comment. So now if you'll do print p, see, this is my multi-line string. Multi-line string can be written in the single 3 quotes or double 3 quotes. Now Python is not having any character data type. A single character is simply a string with length of 1. So you will make use of str or string data type in the Python. There is no character data type, char, that you have used in the C language. That is not in the Python. There is string only. Now, suppose I'll just remove all this thing. I have taken a string hello world. Okay. Now, suppose I just want to print a. If I write like this, A1, what is going to give me? E. The first character from this string, right? So there is a concept of indexing. Let me share with you first. Indexing we already know. In the tab indexing, so string is also a kind of Python array with the byte of representing Unicode characters only, right? However, the Python that I already told you, Python is not having the character data type, it is have only the string. So how it is behaving in this thing? Suppose this is the type I have, right? We know that our index starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And this is I have taken as the example as taken as a is equal to Python. Okay. Now if I want to access print only the t from this thing, right? So I will write print a, write the index value of t 2. So it will give me t in the output. So by using the indexing, we can make use of the or we can print the simple values or single characters from the string, right? Now we all know about the indexing, that from by default 0 to the size or length whatever they're giving. There is another type of indexing in the Python. This is known as, I'll write this as positive indexing, right? There is also a concept of negative indexing. So negative indexing will start from the right hand side and it will start from the -1. So -1 will given to n, -2, -3, -4, -5, minus. So this will be having -6. Then this will be having -5. Then it is having -4, -3, -2, and -1. Like this. Okay. So this type of indexing is known as negative indexing. this will make use in, I will make use in the string also, in the list also, in the tuple also, and dictionary also. Mainly in the string, list, and tuple. Indexing, positive indexing and the negative indexing. Now, what is the use of this negative indexing? Can anyone tell me that how we can make the benefit of this negative indexing? What do you understand by the use of this negative indexing? Why it is providing the concept of negative indexing? What kind of help we can get? Anyone? Yes, anyone, hurry up. Positive indexing, no, I'm asking what is the use of this, why there is no use of negative indexing, or you haven't learned about the negative indexing in the C or C++. There is only concept in the Python. Why? Any benefit of that, do you think? Okay, I'll tell you. See, suppose I have a record of 1 lakh people, 1 lakh student. Fine. Now, with the help of this indexing, I know that I want to access the last element or any last closest to the last element, right? So with the help of the positive indexing, what I need to do, I need to traverse from the first and then to the last, right? With the help of the negative indexing, suppose if I just want to have the last value, suppose the hundredth or the thousandth value I want to have. So despite of writing this thousand index, I just simply write -1 because I know the negative index for the last value is -1. Right or not? So whenever we make use of the arrays in the another language, there is no such facility provided by no such facility of negative indexes provided by any other language, right? But the Python allow us to make use of the negative index values. So -1 will give you the last element, -2 will give you the second last element, and we know that the negative indexing starting from the last position of the array, right? So basically the negative indexing is used to remove any new line spaces from the string, and it allows the string to accept the last character that is given as S. Like if I want to print the last element, I can simply write let me write here print A. If I'll write -1, but it will give me D, the last element. Okay. Now if I will write higher like this, then what I am getting, all the values except the last one, double colon. Now what is this double colon? Why I have written? This is the concept of slicing in the Python. How we can do the slicing, right? The first concept is indexing, that by using the make of index, we can print like one word, two word, three words. Suppose if I want to print ELLO only from this thing. So I know what is the index value of E? 1. H is 0, E is 1. So I'll write here 1 up to which value I want? ELLO. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So up to 4. So if I'll write in this way, do I get O? No. It is giving me one less value. So I need to write 5 here. This is the syntax is similar to the range functions that I have discussed with you, start, stop, and step. So it will slicing will behave in the same. This is the type of slicing that I am extracting the substring from my string. This is ELLO is the substring that I am extracting by using the indexing. 1, this column, this column. So 1 is my starting value, 5 is my stopping value, and if I haven't mentioned anything, it means I am giving the +1 by default. If I do if 2, then what numbers I'll get? Only E and L. Now this L is this one, this second L, not the first L. Okay. If I'll write here 8, see what will happen, but I'll get E, L, comma, W. So this thing I am getting. E, this L, because space of 2 is given, so it will skip this L and it will give you this L. Then O is skipped, W is given, then space is skipped and W is given. Okay, this is slicing. Similarly, now tell me one thing. If I have written like this, if I'm not mentioning anything on the starting position also and not in this one, if I'm writing like double colon -1, it means it will give me the all these things except the last word -1. See, hello, comma, WORL, D. Okay, then do you know how we can reverse a string? Obviously, there will be a 3, 4 or more than 3, 4 line program in the other languages, like in the C or C++. First we take C, first we take string, then we will perform the calculation over that by finding the remainder and division and modulus. Then we will get the reverse of that particular string, right or wrong? Am I right? Yes, class, am I right or wrong? Yes. Okay. So now see how we can do this thing in the Python. See, I have just written this line and your string is reversed. So this is the benefit of using Python. Easy code, less number of lines, and very easy to write. So you can see by writing this slicing, no starting, no stopping, only this -1 with double colon syntax is used to reverse the string. So you will see your string is reversed. So in one single line, by using the concept of slicing, we can reverse the string in the Python. Is this clear? So compare the C, reverse a string. Do this one thing. Your homework is this thing, that search for us reverse a string by using C language, and then look for this in the Python. Only with the help of one single line we have reversed the string. And your string can be of any length. It doesn't mean that I have made use of this thing. Suppose if I'll adding this much, right? You will get your string in the reverse form, in spite of any length. Getting it? Any doubt? Yes, any doubt or not? Just search for the simple program and then look for this thing, syntax, slicing. This is how we perform slicing in the string. You can also perform slicing in the list also, and in the other data structures also. Slicing and indexing. Okay. Okay. Now I'm just the next concept is the operations that we can implement with the help of string. So in this string, we can implement basically two type of operations. One is concatenation, and the another one is multiplication, right? Or we can say repetition, right? Concatenation will perform with the help of plus operator. This repetition will perform with the help of subtraction operator. So if I'll write like this, hello, or I'll simply take this. A is equal to Python and B is equal to programming. Right? Now, if I do print A plus B, what is the use of this concatenation? Means joining two strings. So if I'll join two numbers, it will give the addition. Now I'll make of you this thing, it will give me the Python programming as a joined string. Okay. Similarly, if I want to make use of repetition, simply do print A multiply 3. So it will print my Python 3 times. See, Python, Python, Python. These two operations we can perform on this string. And do remember these things, because in the list there are different type of operations we can perform, but in the string only we can perform only these two operations, concatenation and the repetitions. Okay. Now suppose one more thing, your concept is that strings are immutable. Immutable means we cannot change, right? The element of the strings cannot be changed once they are designed or assigned. Like suppose I have given a is equal to Python, right? Now if I want to do a comma, suppose this is at 0, at the 0 value, 0 index value, I want to change this value. 0 is equal to, I want to write h. Will it allow or no? No. String object does not support item assignment. So this is immutable. We cannot change the element of the string. But list is mutable. We can change the element of the list. So one more thing, we cannot delete the element or remove the element or character from a string. Okay? But you can delete the string entirely. Like suppose if I want to perform this thing, delete a 0th location value, it will give me the error. Does not support item deletion. But if I delete a, it will delete my string. Okay. Now after this, if you will do print a, it will give you error. Name a is not defined because now I have deleted my string. So del is used to delete the string. There are different number of functions, inbuilt functions, membership functions available inside the string that we'll discuss in the next class because the time is now going to over. So I'll just give the overview of string today, that how we can declare the string with the double quotes and the single quotes. And there is a concept of positive indexing, negative indexing. Then there is a concept of the slicing. To extract the substring from the strings, we can make use of the slicing also. Then we have two different operation in the string, concatenation and the repetition. Concatenation we can do with the help of plus. It means we are joining two strings together. Repetition means multiplications or the repetition of the strings. The number of times you want to repeat, just write the multiple operator and then write the number you want to print. Okay. Any doubt till now? Okay. There is one thing I just want to discuss with you. If you want to check the ID of one particular variable, you can check. ID means it returns the identity of an object, right? And this is guaranteed to be unique among simultaneously existing object, right? So it is basically giving the memory location where this hello is going to stored in the memory. So if I'll do this, name is not defined. Wait. Now let me run this. See, the ID of A is my Python. A is the hello now. Sorry. ID of this hello is 2350949124464. It means at this particular memory location, this A is going to store. If you want to check the ID of B, again you will write the same thing. You will get the ID of B also. See. Right? What is the use of this ID and how we can how we can tell that the strings are mutable or immutable? I'll explain this thing in the next sessions. That if we want to copy from or when we are going to make use of different inbuilt functions, how we get to know that they are making changes to the original copy also or not. All those things can be better explained with this help of this id. So you must need to know about what is the use of id. Id is just used to tell you about the memory location of that particular string in the memory, where the hello word is being stored in the memory. This is the object's location. So id is basically showing you the identity of the object, right? So whatever the things we have discussed till now, is there any doubt to any of you between, because today we have just discussed about the basic concepts, and the data structure I'll start with this string that is not completed yet. So in the next session tomorrow, I'll discuss about all the data structures and the functions with you. Yes, any doubt? Please do some homework related to this, that in the next sessions whenever we'll meet tomorrow, you all will be clear with the basic concepts that we have done today, like what is variable, identifier, keywords, tokens, and the conversions that I have discussed with you. How if I have taken two numbers, one is integer, one is float, why it is giving me float as an output, why not integer, and then the variable assignment, then the different type of operators, and conditions for loop, while loop, and this string. So all these things will be, I'll ask 3 or 4 questions randomly from any of you students, and if you're not going to give me response from tomorrow sessions, I'll make sure that attendance will not be given to you if there will be no response from the students I have asked the question. I hope this is clear. So if there will be any doubt, your first thing is to ask me to doubt in the next sessions. Otherwise, I'll ask the questions from you. Okay? Do let me know how was this session also, so that if there will be any problem in teaching or anything else, so I'll make that changes from tomorrow class. Yes, anyone? No one want to respond over this? Yes, class. Okay, fine. So, okay, thank you, Nikita. So, fine, I'm going to wind up the session. I hope that you come by preparing in the next sessions to prepare the things that we have discussed today. And if there will be any doubt, please ask your doubt in the next sessions. Okay? Thank you for joining. Have a good day.